You're watching the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears Football Weekly Press Luncheon with head football coach Ian Shields.
Well, thank you, John. It was a great team win for us last Saturday versus Mars Hill. I thought we played well in every phase of the game. It started off slower than we like, but we finished strong. Looking at it in all three phases, defensively, we started a little sluggish to start the game. Give Mars Hill credit, they had a good plan, and they blocked us well up front. We missed a couple tackles, and they have a good back who finished the last one for a touchdown. But after that, we settled down and played relatively well. And then offensively, as soon as we got the ball back, we scored, and answered that touchdown and got things back on track. That was big for our team at that moment. Then obviously we had the setback with our starting quarterback with Miles going down, and that was some adversity we hadn't faced yet this year. We faced it with Ike Whitaker going down, another preseason All-American of ours. But our guys responded well. I thought Evan Sims came in and played exceptionally well for his first, extended action out there on the field of play. Read well, played well. Just really ran the offense, and you see he has some explosive ability with his legs as well and can finish a run. Guys played very well up front on the offensive line. I thought it was our best performance by our offensive line. That's saying something, considering I think they played extremely well all season long. I think Joe Ray in particular was phenomenal. Maybe as good as he's ever played, and that's saying something when you're talking about a returning All-American and Jacobs blocking a Trophy Award winner. But they played hard, and they played well, and they executed to a high level. And anytime you rush for nearly 600 yards in a football contest, those guys up front are doing the bulk of the work. The guys that were the recipients of some of that great blocking, Chris Robinson had a fabulous day, continues to make play after play. He's an explosive runner. And like you said, if he breaks through the second level, he can get through the third level quite often. And he's physical and fast, and is really playing well for us. He had 3 touchdowns, over 150 yards rushing. Gerard Spears had his biggest day to date with 195 yards on 10 carries. I can do that math, 19.5 yards a carry. And again, there's some great blocking, not only by the guys up front, but on the perimeter. Vic Brannon and Grayson Wells don't get enough credit for the work they're doing. And they were spectacular outside blocking the perimeter. We had one unfortunate call, really 2 unfortunate calls on the perimeter. Took some long runs back, but they did a great job, really giving us the edge outside and extending that edge and then finishing that edge quite often. So well done by them. Defensively, Tanner Botts played very well. Tanner continues to play, how we expect him to play. Tyler Botts, I think, keeps coming on, getting better and better since he was dinged up a little bit. Since he's gotten back, he continues to progress, and he's playing well. Chris Green was a real factor inside for us. You saw he had some big hits, as did Kalen Elkins. So we're getting a lot of production from our front. Blake Baker, Placid Joe got going on with those guys. They're playing well up front. We're playing well defensively. Chris Schaefer, Marcus Kincaid, O'Neal Blake on the corner. It was great to get Joe Anderson back out of corner, who's a leader for us and an excellent player. So good team win. I think the hidden story behind that game was our special teams. That was a big factor in that game, and we thought was an area that was potentially dangerous for us with their returner. We mitigated his return yards. Mars Hill had 13 return yards on the day, -5 in punt returns. And we also stole possession with the kickoff with a fumble and almost had a couple others there. So there was 0 kickoff return yards. So that was critical in the game. Anytime you can steal a possession, that certainly bodes well for us. And that's what you saw happen with the 28 points there in the third quarter. So again, it was a fabulous day of football, beautiful day, a great crowd between the bricks, and it was a lot of fun. Transition to this next contest. Obviously, biggest game of the week. It's the only one we get this week. Playing Carson-Newman. We have a ton of respect for their program, Coach Sparks and what he's done. We have a formal task going over there to their place in Jefferson City, And you're talking about playing against one of the more dynamic, explosive offenses in the country. It's over 500 yards a game total offense. They're explosive everywhere. Their quarterback is a special player. He looks like Michael Vick's twin. And then you have the two backs, Hibbett, and they got a new guy over there as well who's playing well of late. Explosive receiver Eubanks, and they're talented. They're blocking well up front. They're better than good. They're great. And our defense is playing well, but this is a different animal we're playing this week, obviously. And all the respect in the world. They have a beautiful system. Coach Sparks knows it. He's been doing it forever. And there's a reason he has more wins than Bear Bryant. They're spectacularly well coached. And it's a tall task for us. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge for us. All that's a challenge. And then, obviously, it's a big game. So we're excited to go over there and play. We're excited to go over there and play well. And we all know there's a lot riding the line, and this is a big game for both schools. And we're both. This is a game where both squads are looking forward to test yourselves against the best. And as a competitor, that's all you can ask for. And we have a healthy respect for who they are and what they do. And I'm sure it's likewise. And we're anxious to go meet them Saturday over there in Jefferson City. With that being said, I'll take any questions regarding the Mars Hills game last week or looking forward here to Carson-Newman this week.
Well, Coach, wonder, of course, you have your list of what are always keys to victory, but can you put your finger on any one thing that this game might come down to? Well,
it always starts with the effort battle. How hard can we play and for how long can we play hard? I know we're going to get a spirited effort from our adversaries over there, and both teams will come out playing hard, and how long we can play hard. As it is every week, the effort battle determines at least a portion of that victory. I think the other thing is the turnover battle. We played airtight offensive football last Saturday. We had 0 turnovers. Anytime you turn the ball over 0 times, you give yourself a great chance to win. You don't have to necessarily be prolific with the football if you're just not giving it over to the other team. We've done a nice job of that of late, and we need to continue to do that to beat a top 20 football team. And that's a challenge when you're talking about, I think when the season began, everyone would have envisioned our starting fullback Ike Whitaker, our starting quarterback Miles Freeman being there, and there's potential that neither one will be there this Saturday. And there's a possibility they will. There's potential they won't. So the ball is the issue. It's always the issue, and it cuts both ways. So I would say those things. And anytime you have 2 evenly matched teams, the kicking game always, is the difference, is a deciding factor as well. There's a lot of, and they have some dangerous returners. They took one back last week against North Greenville. So, like I said, we're in there still scratching our heads trying to figure out how to stop them. And I'm not sure we can stop them. We're just hoping to slow them down a couple times and hopefully keep pace offensively.
All right, Coach, I was looking at the overall record here against Carson-Newman, and it's 32-4 in their favor. How much does history play a part in this game, if at all?
0. It doesn't. It's this team for Lenoir-Rhyne has never played that team at Carson-Newman. 0. This year's team is unique unto itself, and their team this year is unique unto itself. It's the 2014 Lenoir-Rhyne Bears. It's the 2014 Carson-Newman Eagles. 2 great football teams, 2 proud football programs. But I don't think anything in the media guy is going to carry forward to this Saturday.
I know one of the things you've talked about all season is how the style of offense kind of beats up people and it wears them out. And last week you had a pretty big challenge, but you bottled up their running back pretty well. This week you got another big running test. Does that take a toll over a season as well?
Well, I think it cuts both ways. Carson-Newman has, although it's a different style of option football, it has the same effect. So it works in their favor as well, obviously. They're a big play team. They're explosive as you can get, quite frankly. For us, I don't know that we are quite as explosive as they are, but we are efficient, and we do possess the football. And typically with our style of play, as you saw last week, we're kind of a grinded out ball club. And then as in a lot of boxing matches and some heavyweight fights, you get enough body blows and eventually you can knock the sucker out. And hopefully that can carry forward, not just for this week, but every week we play. I mean, that's who we are. We're not going to change our identity here this week.
Looking back at the Mars Hill game, you've talked about your team overcoming the loss of Ike pretty much the first game of the year. Their team came into the season, both teams came into the season with two big workhorses. They planned on working hard. Shaq Davis hasn't seen the field for Mars Hill, and they struggled early on. You talked last week about Harbison picking it up the 2 weeks before and then finding a groove, and he moved them down the field pretty well behind their line in that first series, and then he didn't come back in from an injury or whatever. They faced a hardship. Both teams lost quite a few players throughout the early part of the game. Can you talk about how your team seemed to overcome that better than theirs?
Well, I can't speak for what's necessarily going on the other side. I know them losing Harbison in the course of that first half didn't help them. He's one of the better running backs in our conference. He's close to over 1,000 yards in 7 games going into that thing. So a talented player. When I saw him come back out for halftime, not in pads and not with his helmet, I was relieved, to tell you the truth. And both guys, our number 2 and their number 2, were knocked out of that contest. So it was a bad day to be number 2. That's the moral of that story. But I was proud of how our guys rallied around Evan Sims. And Evan gets a ton of reps, and the way we practice, Evan gets as many reps as Miles gets. He's fully confident, prepared, and he's been working for this moment. And any backup quarterback in the country is ready because they know how fast their turn can get called. But it was great to see Evan was prepared when his opportunity came, and that preparation met an opportunity, and he went out and performed. So I was proud of the way he came in, and the team rallied around him and played well around him. And we're gonna have a little tall test for us here this Saturday. But should whether Miles or Evan is out there, I think we have complete confidence in both those guys to operate the system.
Looking ahead to Carson-Newman, you mentioned the split back veer and how dangerous that is. A lot to do with that dive, the backs being so close to the line of scrimmage. They're there before, a lot of times before the defense can even get up. But it's dive. DeAndre Thomas is going to keep the ball or pitch it. Then next thing you know, Trayshawn Ward or Eubanks or somebody else is down the field 40 yards and catching a ball. Our defense has always been, and it seems this year too, a lot of the secondaries leading. I think two of our 3 deep secondary players are the top 2 or 3 in tackles. What do you work with them, especially this week, to make sure, on top of the fact that Thomas is a left-handed quarterback, how things are kind of backwards from normal, looking at that, how they make sure that they're not caught with Trayshawn Ward down behind them, and they're not going to catch him?
Well, there's certainly, anytime you play option football, whether it's split back veer, flex bone, you wishbone, you name it, even the spread option teams, like an Oregon or something like that, still run option football with a gun. You still have to play assignment football. And our guys have to master the details of their assignment this week, and it's especially challenging because, like I said, the split back veer is a little bit different. It's a little bit different than we see against ourselves in practice occasionally, or against, say, Brevard in conference. So there are differences. There are differences in personnel. Every team has tendencies, so it's up to Coach Casey and our defensive staff to figure out what those possible tendencies are and try and carve out a plan that shapes to our strengths as well. But certainly I think it's not just the safeties going to have to play well. Our corner's going to have to play well. Our linebacker's going to have to play well, and our front's going to have to play. Our front four's going to play great. like I said, they're very good at what they do, and the beauty of their system, split back veer. I mean, you go back. I mean, Coach Sparks been doing it forever. You go back to when Bill Yeoman put it in. The Houston veer. I mean, it's timeless. The best high school program in the history of the country is De La Salle, and they're still running split back veer, and they win once a week for like the last 30 years. So it's a beautiful system. They do a great job with it, and then part of the beauty of it is no one else is doing it anymore at this level. And that's why it works. They know what they're doing, they know what they're looking at, they know what the adjustments are to make, and it's tough to get ready for in a week's notice. And you can see it's awfully tough on everybody because they got, they're scoring 43 points a game and over 500 yards offense a game. So they're a monster. It's a monster getting ready for it. It's tough to defend, and it's not just the system. They got the coaches that know the system, and they got players that are very athletic and downright athletes on their own part that fit the system, and they recruited well to it. So, like I said, it's a real chore. It's lightning in a bottle everywhere, and we've got to try and keep that lightning in the bottle if possible.
Does it make a difference in your preparation that DeAndre is left-handed?
It does not make a difference. I mean, whether he's right-handed, left-handed. He's dangerous. They've done a good job. They're running option both ways. He's pitching it both ways. He's throwing it both ways, and he's developing it as a dynamic playmaker. He already has been, but he's a special talent. He really is. And but like I said, he's got a lot of special talent guys around him. Anytime you're playing quarterback, whether it's our system, their system, or you're the New England Patriots, you need talent surrounding you for the quarterback to look good. And he's got there's a lot of that supporting cast he has is outstanding, and I've been especially impressed with their O-line. Their left guard's a monster, and their back, Hibbett is a special player. We'd love to have him in our system. I can tell you that. So they're as good as you're going to get in Division II football, and they've set the standard for not only years but decades. So we have a tremendous respect for Coach Sparks and his program, and we're going over there, and we're respectful of what's gone on over there. But like I said, this is nothing to do with really what the past is. This is the 2014 Bears against the 2014 Eagles, and let's go play. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming. With that being said, we're looking forward to this contest against Carson-Newman. It's a big game for a lot of different reasons, but we're excited because it's the only game we get this week. We'd love to have a bunch of people from the Bear Nation get over there to Jefferson City. It's not that far a drive. You can get there on one tank of gas. Love everyone to get over there and support our football team. Go Bears.